Hi guys, and welcome back to this episode of KREC-TECH. My name's Daryl Lane, and today we're going to be taking you through a crash course in HTML. Now, if you learn anything from the last video that I put up on YouTube, you realize that we're going to be jumping right in. There's not going to be any holding back, and we're going to make sure that everything is explained fully so that you can grasp the concept of what HTML is. So, with that in mind, let's get right into it. Hi guys, and welcome back. So, to get started, what we're just going to do is talk about what exactly is HTML, because fundamentally it's all great understanding that a web page runs on HTML, but if we don't know what it is, then we don't even have the very basics of what we want to be doing. So to start with, I'm just going to go ahead and very quickly tell you what HTML is. And HTML is a hypertext markup language. Essentially, what it does is it allows whatever you write to be able to be displayed on a screen, which is within a certain tag. So what we have here is a standardized system for tagging text files to achieve font, color, graphic, and hyperlink effects on World Wide Web pages. Now that is the definition, and it also defines the structure and layout of a web document by using a variety of tags and attributes. Now what we're going to be doing is going through and showing you what these tags exactly are, because essentially what I'm going to show is a lot of things that may not make sense at first, but hopefully as we go on it will make sense. Now I also need to make sure that you realize that this isn't going to all click straight away, but whatever happens, bear with it, and I'm sure you will grab it and grasp it faster than you could actually imagine. Now to start with, I just want to show you here this on the left hand side. This is Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is an IDE, an integrated development environment. What that is a code editor. So let's say for example I've got my Visual Studio Code downloaded and I've installed it. Now over on the left hand side we can connect this to a window, and what will happen is it will appear up and it'll ask you to connect it to a folder. Once that's connected, you will have something that will look like what's on the left here, where I got my folder which I named public HTML. Now to begin writing anything in HTML, you need to ensure that you create the file that it's going to run from. Now this file has to end with .html, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you up in the top left here. Click on it, new file, and we're just going to name this index.html. And that there is now defining that whatever code we write in here, any source code, it is going to be connected to this file index.html. And then if we run that file on our web browser, it will display on our web browser. And HTML also has a function where you can run within their menu a live server, which if we were to do that, now over here on the right hand side, we have our page running and it's showing anything that's in our IDE, our Visual Studio Code. However, we have nothing written in there, so it's not going to display anything for the time being. But this is where you're going to see the magic of what HTML can really do. Now, remember, I'm going to be showing you a lot of tags and they may not make sense at first, but I will explain them and we'll be moving fairly quickly because there's a lot to cover. So first thing we must make sure of is an HTML requires certain tags. Now I'm going to show you a very quick shortcut, and that is if you type in your index.html on the left hand side HTML:5 and then you press your tab. And what that will do is that will show you, let's just wrap that a little bit. There we go. And I'm just going to zoom in as well so you can see exactly what we're working with. Now, pull this out. And there we go. Now, this here is fundamental. You must always have your doc type at the top, your HTML tag. You must always have your head and body, and then your closing body and HTML tags. The HTML tag will define the HTML document. The head will define the information about the document. Now, the title will be what appears on this side over here. So let's just go ahead and just save that and have a little look on this side, refresh, and there we go, document. And that is our title. We also have to remember that the body tag defines the document's body. So although this here, it defines various things, so like your title, your meta descriptions. So this is where SEO will sit as well. This here will not display on your actual page, but what is within your body is where you want to place all of that content, all of that material, whatever it might be, whether it be from making really fancy animations, it could be just writing a text document, or even building a blog. Whatever it is you have, whatever you can imagine, you want that to be sitting within your body tag. Now we're going to make sure, okay, that we're going to start creating something, and I just want you to just, first of all, just watch, and if you can, follow along, but I'm going to go very quickly, and I'm going to start putting in quite a few tags, and then we're just going to move down the page and see what they do. So with that in mind, cue the elevator music. Okay, and there we have it. So that was a bit rushed, and we did run that through that very quickly, but all I want to just quickly show you is how easy it is to be able to put something together, because essentially HTML is all about the tags. So you can see here we've got different kinds of tags, H1 to H6, EM, P, strong, B, span, OL. These might make no sense at the moment. This is where I want to show you exactly what they do, because yes, I've written here on the Visual Studio Code, and it's just a text document, but what happens is Visual Studio Code will run through the index.html and it will display this live on the site. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to click, and I'm just going to show you what's happened. So there we go. Now it looks a little bit odd, and I'm not surprised by that, because we haven't really styled anything up, but I don't want you to worry about that for now. I want you just to understand exactly what you're looking at. So I'm going to zoom in there so you can see exactly what's going on, and I'm going to pull this to the side. I want us to see both pages, and as you can see, we're going to go from the very top, we're going to work our way down, and we're going to talk about it as we go as well, so that you know exactly what we're doing and what each thing means. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at now, as you've seen, I've just put all of the different options in, and just very quickly as well, before we get going, there's something I did notice that I'm just going to correct on this page here, and I'm just going to change these options, and it's actually the wrong way around. That was my fault, and I'm just going to quickly fix that, and I'll explain everything that's going on, because ultimately all we're doing is we are defining. That's it. Everything here is all about defining something so that then it can represent what you want to be displayed. Also, I'm going to add another two things up here at the top, and these you will probably see if you start doing your own web pages very, very often. And one is a div. I am a div. Sounds like an insult. And the other one is section. Close that. I am a section. Okay, now we're going to leave those. We're just going to quickly save them as well, so they pop in at the top. And now let's get going. So I'm going to go through each one, and I'm going to explain exactly what it does. And it's going to be one after the other, nice and quick. And I'm also going to show you exactly what that does. Now, the very first one up the top is a div. All that does is it defines a section in a document. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less, just defines it. Same as the section. All it does is it's defining, saying that this here is a section. Whatever content is within that, that is within this tag. An A tag. An A tag is a link. So what that will do is whatever you type here, A space href equals, and in these quote marks, whatever you type will go to that link. So let's just say we want to go to google.com. And let's just save that and click the link. Oh, we got a little bit of an error, but that's okay. We can correct that. We just want to jump back over here. HTTPS : / and save that. Then we're going to jump back, reload, click the link, and off we go. We're into Google. Now, we don't want to worry about that too much for now, but that is how that works. So that is just defining the link. Now here, this H tags, they are defining the headings. Each one will be of a different size, however, so if you don't style it or add any CSS, it is purely based off the tag defining the size. So H1 will be your largest, as you can see over here, and it will go down. Almost looks like what you see in an optician's. And it gets all the way down to H6, which is the smallest H6, and it doesn't go any further than that. Moving down the list, we've got EM tag, emphasized text. But another way to look at it is italic. It will appear as italic. Now, paragraph. Paragraph, or P, is just purely defining a paragraph. So if you were typing something in here, la-di-da-di-da, and you just kept going and going and going, that would be a paragraph text. And then you can separate it. You can say, where's my first paragraph? Oh. Here's my second. This is my second paragraph. And again, remember, all of this is just about defining sections. This is my second paragraph. Perfect. And easy as that. Now, next one is strong. Now, this, another way to look at this is strong is bold. So think of a bodybuilder or someone who trains in the gym. Now, the stronger they get, the bigger they get. And that is exactly what this is. Strong is bold, as we can see here. Now, what I'm going to do, as you've noticed, is these two tags and the one below are all running side by side. Now, we're very quickly just going to break those down by breaking the line. And what I mean is, if I were to go on here and I was to type BR and close, and if I was to save that, I've just broken that line and said that from this point, drop down a line. And we're going to do the same again on bold. So we're going to go after this B tag, BR, save, and we're going to drop it down. So now we've got all three on separate lines, which is perfect because it helps it look more clean and more presentable. Now, dropping down to the B, exact same. B is essentially defining bold. So rather than strong, you can just type B for short and you'll get bold again. Span tag, this is defining a part of a section. So for example, if we were writing a massive long paragraph and it was huge, we're talking massive. Now say within that, you wanted to separate a certain section. So within there, the second paragraph you said span, then you got rid of that autocomplete, which is a nice feature to have. And you wanted just to define this little part of the section, this one word. You would put a span within there. And that will define that little bit, and then you can change it and do whatever you want to it, and it won't affect anything else within the paragraph except that one word. That is what a span is perfect for, and it does the job amazingly well. Now, moving further down the list, we've got OL, UL, LI. Now, these three are very important, and I'm going to show you what exactly they do very quickly. So, OL is ordered list, so it represents a list items, but the only way you can see what that will look like is you have to use the one that's at the bottom here, li. Li essentially is a list item, but a list item must always be within inside one of these two tags. It's got to be inside an ordered list or an unordered list. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to drop that down so you can see what's going on. We're going to separate the two. And in here, we're going to say li. That defines that it's a list. Then we're going to close that. And we just want to see what happens on the right hand side to that. Oh, there we go. We've got number one. If you were to put another one, it would just move up and do the exact same procedure by going up in numbers. Now, if you did that same thing, but you did that for an unordered list, you won't get numbers, but instead, you will get something a little bit like this. So you just get a bullet point. Still looks neat, still tidy, but it will not be numbers. It will be an unordered list. So it's just a bullet point. And you could put that in over and over and over again, and you will just get the same thing, a bullet point. Now, li, as we mentioned, is just the list item. So moving a bit further down the list, we've got an image tag. This defines an image. So you img space source. You are calling where is the location of my image. Now you can have images that are saved inside here. You can have an image folder. You can call it image or images, and inside there drop them, and you will be able to call them from here by calling /image, and you will choose your image. Well, we haven't got an image to display, but if we did, this is where it would be calling from, and it will display down here what you're seeing. Inside my form, I want a text box. So if someone types in some data, then that text box will gather the data. All I put inside the form is input tag, and that's it. And as you can see down here, we got an input tag, and then if I type, there it is. Now, before we go any further, I just realized by mistake I've completely missed the button. So here, a button is just defining a button, exactly what it says. I am a button. This is who I am. And by default, it will have a little style. Just a little click, that's all. Okay, jumping down, option or select. So select essentially is saying, this box here, what we want to do is create this box, and inside of the select, we want to give it options. Now, we've got option 1. So if I click over here, there's my option. If I was now to create more within the select box, because that will create our drop down box, we're just going to, we're going to ignore the style in there for a second, the spacing. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click, and there we go. Option 1, 2, 3, or 4. But that all must be within inside that one select box. Now, moving further down, footer. This here is just defining the footer of a section. Now, the interesting thing about a footer is you can put everything you want within there. So all of this above that we've been working with, you can stick all of that inside of a footer. But a lot of time people just want to put A tags because they want to call underneath their footer. They maybe just want links to terms and conditions, or they might just want a little bit of text that says, like so, let's say a P tag, and we're going to go KREC-TECH 2019. And that may be just all they want within there. Now, the main thing to remember is HTML always has other entities. So I'm going to show you one of them for our footer example. And I'm just going to say after KREC-TECH, we're going to say and copy and colon. Save that. And there's our copyright tag. So now that we've done our first part and we've shown you what the tags are, or at least some of their tags, because the one thing to remember is that these aren't all of the tags that are available with HTML. And there are some entities as well that we can look in a little bit later on. But there are so many different tags, but the ones that I've shown you are the most commonly used ones that you will be finding when you're building site. There are things like tables, but with tables, there are bits of it which can become more complicated, which we're going to probably cover in another episode a little bit later on down the line. But for the time being, what we're going to do is we're going to take everything that we've learned so far and been shown to what the tags are, and we're going to make a very small web page out of this. And we're going to see how it all comes together and how neat it looks. So, if you enjoyed the first part so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash that like. And now we're going to jump straight back into part 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, after we've just gone through everything and we've seen all the different pieces of tags, we're just going to remove everything. So we're going to go from keep the body, get everything we've got, and delete, get rid of that. And all we're going to do is we are just going to add all these different tags, and we're just going to put it into a nice text document. You know, something that's going to look relatively decent, but it's not going to be all fancy because we're not styling anything. We're just going to purely put content. So I'm just going to go ahead and now one thing to remember is commenting tags. Never forget, because whenever you comment something, essentially what you're doing is you're letting someone else be able to see what you're up to and what you're doing. So it's like a kind of note. what we're going to say here is section with lorem ipsum text and import box. Nothing crazy, nothing exciting. Oh, and import box and link back to site. Now, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do that by adding some of the tags that we've been working with. So we're going to drop down. And first thing we need to do is create a title. So we're going to start with something nice and big for this. So to represent what we're up to, I'm going to say H1. And this is our title. Save that. There we go. And then what we're going to do underneath is we're going to add some text. Now, regarding this text, what we're going to do is go to a site where we're going to generate something. I'm going to say Google and lorem ipsum. Just type that in. And then you've got to find right at the top, the first page you click on is going to be lorem ipsum. Now, this here is what people tend to use for sort of generic text, generated text that you can then just take and just pop in as an example rather than having to put any actual content for the time being. So we're going to copy this first paragraph, and over here underneath our title, first of all, we're going to put a p tag. We're going to space that out a little bit. We're going to push down as well our body, and we're going to add that straight in. But we want to bring that back a little bit so it looks nice and neat. And then on the site, I'm going to save, and there's our text. Now, it's great having some text, but what if we want to go and add a link inside of that text? Well, okay, let's go inside, and under our, here we go, text ever since the 1500s. We want to make that into a link, and we want to send that link back to the site we got text from. So, on the start of it, we are going to a href equals quote, and then we're going to jump back over and we're going to take copy, and then in this tag we're going to paste it, close it with another quote mark, and then close the a tag. And this closing a tag here, we're going to cut that out and put it on the end where we want it to appear. And there we go. Save that. What's going to happen? There we go. Our link has now appeared here. What happens if we click on that? And there we go. Takes us back to our site. So all of a sudden, you've now created an inline link, which means essentially any text you've created something with inside of it that could take you somewhere, and you can do as many as you want. Now, the other thing to remember as well is with that in mind, you can also go ahead and somewhere in the text, you can put an image. This isn't usually something that you would tend to go and do, but you could even go ahead and image, source, pop that in there, close that if you want to, and now chuck the image in where it needs to be. But we don't have an image there for the time being. If we did, that's what would populate within the text. But that's not good practice. When you do it, you always put it on the outside. Now, going ahead, and what we're going to do is with this tag here, we're going to add a little additional variable almost to the end of it. What this is going to be called is target equals, and then underscore blank. And what that's saying is when I click on this link, open up a blank new tab for me. So then you can always have the old tab there. And there we go. So now we've gone ahead and we've added our title. We've got a p tag. We're going to go ahead, jump back to our page. We're going to add, and we're going to just do an image because it's always nice. And you can put whatever image you want in here. And what we might even go ahead and do actually is just grab one very, very quickly. So what I've done here is I've created an image tag, and I've actually gone ahead and I've got an image for us. So just so you can see by example what it looks like. So to locate that folder, / image, and we're just going to select that image. Let's have a little look. And there we go. There's our image. Perfect. Now remember, whenever you're building a site, you want to make lots of things clickable, or you may not. But if you do, you can make an image have a link on it as well. And all you do is to do things like that, you wrap them. So you would wrap your image in a link, and whatever that link may be. And then once you close that tag, you then go ahead and you underneath close it as well. And there we go. And that's just so you can see that it is working. HTTPS slash and then let's give that a try. Wait for that to load, click on that, and there we go. Gone to Google. Now jumping back, one thing I've noticed as well, which is very key, is right inside of the content. Now the H1 is our title, so that's not too much of an issue. But here, once we get to the full content, we want to really wrap it within inside of something. And that, what we mentioned before, the section, which we defined as a section of the document, we're going to use that here. We're going to take that closing tag. Oh, let's just jump back for a moment. There we go, wrap that. And down here, we're going to start by closing that. And there we go. But now this is as well, the reason why we do this is because when we style it, we get much more ability to be able to change things as we see fit. But if we want to make it even one step further, we want to wrap a div as well around it. So this gives more free reign once we get to that point where we want to really style things up. So everything is going to be within inside of a section. And then it's also going to be wrapped inside of a div. And I know this may not make a lot of sense because visually we're not using CSS. But when we get to the CSS crash course, all of this will make a lot more sense. So please remember to tune into the episode so then we can carry on with this and we can show you exactly how it all works perfectly together. But for now, we're just going to keep our content as it is. And we're going to go ahead and do one more additional thing. We're going to add in our tags of our form. So we're going to go ahead and say form. And then we're just going to say we want an import box as we did before. You can do little things with import boxes. You can have a placeholder. Now, a placeholder says display this text. So it shows the person what we're looking for. So I'm going to type in here, please say anything. We're going to save that, have a little look, and there we go. Please say anything. And we can type over that. Now we're going to go ahead and underneath that, we are also going to say, we're going to select, and we're going to give an option. We're going to say option, pick me. We're also then going to say again, I'm going to copy that. We're going to just put another 2 in there. We're going to pull these back as well. Everything I want to keep nice and tidy. Pick me. No. Pick me. Hold on. I'm the best. There we go. We'll go with that. Let's have a little look. Pick me. No, pick me. Hold on, I'm the best. There you go. Perfect. So that is our select section. So we've used so many tags so far, and this is what HTML does and what it can create. And then we can go ahead and we can just keep creating more sections to it. And we can continue. We can put more p tags down here after our form. We can say, right, we want another paragraph, but we want something different in there. And we want to move our a tag to here. We want to have another one. And then we want another one here. And then maybe here we want to put a span tag. And within this span tag, we want to wrap that to select a portion of our paragraph. And when we start styling it, with HTML, with CSS, apologies, we're going to make sure that this section is going to look a certain way or maybe be larger. We want it a bit bigger. So that's that section. And then as we get to the bottom, we can start outside of the closing section. We can create our footer. And we can just go ahead and add, as we did before, just a nice p tag and say, well done. You have just had your crash course in HTML. Save that. And there we go. Well done. You just had your crash course in HTML. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you learned something from that. And please, if you enjoyed it and you did grasp or get anything from that was helpful, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like because it really helps out, and I'll see you on the next one.